Hello, everyone, and welcome to the August edition of Techspert Talks. I'm Troy Rainey, and I'll be your host for today's session. Today's presentation is Migrating to Qlik Cloud Analytics. We've got two presenters today. Sav, why don't we start with you? Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Thanks, Troy. I'm Sav Raka, the program lead for Move to Cloud within Qlik's customer success organization. My main focus is to help our customers move successfully to Qlik Cloud. I've been at Qlik for almost 10 years.
Great. Adam, over to you.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Adam Jacobs. I am a technical specialist on the Move to Cloud team. So I assist our customers in their journeys to move to cloud, and I've been here almost 11 years. It'll be 11 years in October.
Fantastic. All right, well, today we're going to be doing a demo of the Qlik Analytics migration tools, seeing how that works and what it can do. And we're talking a lot around migration. What are the benefits and advantages to moving to cloud, and why is now the best time? To get things started, Adam, what does the Qlik Sense Enterprise environment look like that we're going to be migrating today?
Yeah, let me show you. So we have some applications in a sales stream.
Okay.
And some applications in a finance stream. We're going to migrate 4 of these applications, 2 from the finance stream and 2 from the sales stream. This application not only has public sheets that have been published, but also a community sheet as well as 2 private sheets.
So we're going to see how to migrate public and private sheets, bookmarks, and things like that, as well as the user's apps and data connections. That's great.
Exactly.
So talking about this migration tool, where do we find it?
Yeah, so the migration tool is available on our download site on Qlik Community. We can see that the Qlik Analytics migration tool is available today to be downloaded by any customer with access to our download page.
Okay, and is that free for everybody?
It is free for everybody. There is no cost to this tool.
Fantastic. Does it need to be installed on the same machine as Qlik Sense Enterprise, or what's the best practice there?
Yeah, that's a great question. It can be installed on the same server as Qlik Sense Enterprise. However, it is recommended to install it on its own dedicated server, making sure that there's no potential conflicts, ports, or anything like that. Just makes it a much cleaner install.
So what does the cloud environment that we're going to migrate to look like?
This cloud environment is pretty empty. It does have some users available, including myself. It does have one space available just to show this tool works for cloud environments that already have content in them.
Right, the tenant doesn't have to be new.
Exactly. There are no applications, there are no data connections, and there are no data files.
Okay, so what's the first thing we should do with the tool?
First thing we are going to do with this analytics migration tool, and this is the landing page.
So this is what it looks like.
Notice I'm accessing this through a browser.
Okay. So I see at the top we've got connections, plans, projects, jobs. What do we do first?
Great question. So first thing you're going to want to do is create connections. Now you can see I've already created a connection here. So I have my connection to Qlik Cloud. What I've used is an API key in order to have access to the cloud there. So you're going to want a user that has tenant admin rights, and they also need to have a developer role so that they can create an API key. Additionally, if you do plan to migrate applications into personal spaces, you will need to make sure that the user that creates the connection has a private content creator role within the tenant.
Okay, that makes sense. So we have to be able to have the migration tool securely connect to both Qlik Cloud and the Qlik Sense client managed environments and any data connections therein, I guess.
Exactly. And with the Qlik Sense client managed environment, you're going to want to make sure that when you create this connection, you are connecting through the Qlik service account.
And I see we've got some possibilities there of additionally migrating QlikView environments and imprinting.
Yes, you can migrate QlikView applications. You can migrate Qlik imprinting reports. For migrating QlikView, use also the Qlik Sense converter that is available both within Qlik Sense Client Managed as well as in Qlik Sense Desktop. So you can either opt to convert to a Qlik Sense application and then do the work from there to recreate the visualizations, or you can directly migrate a QlikView application into cloud
I don't want to get into the weeds too much on ClickView migration, but it's really cool to see that it's possible.
Yep, it is possible. Same with end printing. End printing is possible. There's limitations on what can be migrated, mostly tabular reports and pixel
Okay,
perfect reports, though we are looking to expand that to other report types.
fantastic. So we've got our connections set up. What's next?
From there, we want to go into creating an actual migration plan. Now, you will probably have multiple plans, like migrating all the users first before anything else.
Okay.
They can be focusing on high priority applications, whatever is determined to be the best path forward when planning out the migration in general. Multiple plans helps break the migration up a little bit, make sure that things function well.
That makes sense, especially if you have a very large and complex environment to start with.
Exactly.
Can we take a look at this plan you've already got set up?
Absolutely. The first thing you're going to do, of course, is connect to the Qlik environment. I'm connecting to just a Qlik Sense client managed environment and a Qlik Cloud environment.
Okay.
The migration tool can have multiple of any of these connections, but a plan can only reference one of each type. So to multiple places or migrate
Uh-huh.
from multiple places, you'll need to have multiple plans for those.
Okay. You can do multiple things, but basically still need to set it up with a plan for each. So one thing at a time.
Exactly.
Okay, so what else can be configured here?
Space settings. An example here is I want to postfix all of my shared spaces with _def.
Okay, so you're using a naming convention to clarify the difference between a shared space and a managed space. All right.
And then the last thing here is user mapping. Here I have my domain in client managed and how I want to map that to an email domain in Qlik Cloud. So in other words, any user that has the domain of server 2019 in
Mm-hmm.
our client managed environment, their Qlik ID will then migrate over to be at qlik.com.
Great. And what is the object selection there?
Yeah, so object selection is now where we actually go in and start hitting the APIs between QlikSense Client Managed and Qlik Cloud to grab the information that we need. So hit retrieve all objects. This will hit both the client managed and the cloud APIs to grab anything that is in both of those environments to start mapping out a plan migrating from QlikSense Client Managed to Qlik Cloud.
Wow, so it will read both environments and try and create those mappings for you and let you edit its auto-built plan?
It will make it so that you can start creating these mappings.
Okay. Well, can we go through each of these tabs here to see what you've got set up?
Yeah, absolutely. So first is the users. Here I have this one user student. I can
Okay.
add an additional user if I want to. You can see that there are 13 available for me to add. So for example, I can select maybe this first user. This will
Yeah, go
add
ahead.
it to my table down here.
So we've added one to show that you can. Is it easy to remove it as well if you accidentally get the wrong
Yeah,
guy?
easy to remove. All you have to do, select the user and remove from
Mhm.
table. And now that user will not be migrated. They move back up into the possible users to select.
So how is he going to be mapped in the Qlik Cloud tenant?
Great question. So you can switch between the table mode of client managed and cloud. When I go into cloud, I've actually mapped this user mostly to myself. I do have to come in here, just make a quick change to adam.jacobs@qlikcloud.com, save this, and notice a little notification that it matches a user that's already in cloud.
Since your user already exists in the cloud, it doesn't need to be migrated.
Exactly. This is going to be important when migrating the private content into Qlik Cloud.
Okay, it's going to take all the material that belong to that user's student and map it to your user.
Exactly.
Okay, should we move over to shared spaces?
Yeah, so we're migrating 4 apps from 2 spaces. I've already put these into my table, and this is the client managed version of those streams. And if I toggle over here to cloud, it's going to be a shared space, of course. Here is the owner of those spaces. Now, if I want to update this, I can actually either update these individually by clicking the edit icon over here, or I can mass update these and change the owner. And let's say I want to change the owner to, this is my manager, Daniel.
Okay, so you're making Daniel the owner of the shared spaces, and he was available to select because he already exists on your tenant.
Exactly. Now notice here as well, we have roles and assignments. I'm not going to go through too much of this, but let me just show you what it looks like. Click edit. Notice now I have a gear icon. Now I can add available users and groups. Then I have the can view, can consume data, all of the standard ones. So everyone is allowed to view this finance stream. But as far as those who can edit, I just want this group to be able to edit this. And if I save those changes and save here, now we can see that we have 13 assignments. And I can view what those assignments are.
Wow, so clicking on the eyeball view icon brought up this table so you can see exactly what the permissions are for each user once they're migrated over. Very cool.
Yeah, so that just gives you a taste of what that looks like.
Thank you. What does the Add New button do?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we are tying streams to spaces, and we can reference existing spaces in the cloud as well. And so I can click Add New, and that creates this new shared space here. Maybe we'll call this data file space.
Okay.
Click Save.
So you're able to create new spaces right here in the tool as part of the migration plan. Very cool. What about managed spaces?
Managed space is pretty much the same thing as shared spaces. All the mechanics there are exactly the same. If I toggle over to the cloud version, we have the two managed spaces. I'm going to keep myself as the owner. For now, we'll just leave the roles and assignments blank, but it's the same process as we saw before.
Okay, time to look at the apps.
If we go over to our apps that we're going to migrate, again, 2 from finance, 2 from sales. So we can see what those look like in client manage, of course. But if we toggle over into cloud, here we can see how this is going to be set up. The nice thing about this for me was that I didn't have to actually tell it that these apps need to go into the finance spaces and these apps need to go in the sales spaces. This was done automatically for me because those were mapped to the streams that these apps belong to in the first place.
Yeah.
Basically like this as is. This is just default behavior at the moment.
Very cool. Could you explain what the export scope is? What does that mean?
Great question. So the export scope has to do with the types of sheets that get exported and therefore imported into Qlik Cloud. So
Okay.
all means public, community, and private sheets.
So if there was an app where you didn't want to bring over the private sheets and bookmarks, you could remove those from the migration plan.
Exactly. And if you only wanted to bring over just the public sheets and the community sheets, you can do that by changing this to published. Default behavior, the export scope is left at all.
That's some of the magic of this migration tool, I think, is to be able to bring over all those private sheets and bookmarks, all with the proper assignments.
Exactly.
When you're looking at those streams in Qlik Sense Enterprise and deciding what to migrate over, are there any tools that help make that first assessment?
Yes. The SaaS Readiness application
Okay.
to make sure that there is a good inventory of what's in the environment and an overall assessment of how ready your environment is to move to cloud. If there's any additional work to be done prior to attempting this migration.
And where do customers get this app? Because it sounds like an important first step.
You will want to talk to your Qlik account team or the technology partner that you work with.
Okay. So if you're not sure who your Qlik team is, maybe just reach out to your account manager first to raise that question.
I'd say it's a good first step.
Fantastic. Yeah, this Readiness app looks like a great place to start. If we go back to the migration tool, what do we need to set up for the data?
Yeah, obviously these apps need to be able to reload in Qlik
Right.
Cloud. So we need to migrate the data that comes with these applications into the environment. For today, that just involves migrating a folder connection with QVDs that these applications reference. You can migrate other types of connections as well, things like Snowflake server.
Okay.
It is important to note that when you migrate a database connection into Qlik Cloud, you still need to manually in Qlik Cloud re-enter the authentication credentials.
Sure.
Now, if we toggle this over into cloud mode, you can see
Yeah.
what this looks like.
This is looking at a folder on Windows. Is it going to copy over everything in that folder into a folder structure on cloud?
Yeah, it's going to do exactly that and configure exactly which folders in that connection are going to be migrated. First, I do want to toggle this update in-app scripts to yes. This is important because I want the migration tool automatically update all of the applications that reference this connection to have the new connection string referenced appropriately. I can now actually name this demo data I'm also going to make sure that this doesn't show up in my personal space. I'm actually going to select that data file space that we created before.
Very
So I
cool.
have this set to migrate, have the update in-app script set, important for any other types of connections. Now, finally, we
Yeah.
do need to select that data. Here's that folder structure. Each one of these folders has the QVDs that are referenced because you can choose to map but not migrate. What might be useful for future plans is to just get this all there now. So I'm going to actually migrate 10 folders and 117 files here. Save those changes. So I'm going to save that.
That is so powerful to be able to, in one tool, be able to move all those files and data connections. And to me, the wow part is actually being able to go into each of those apps and update the load script, because that is what I
Yeah.
imagine would be a nightmare if you had to do that manually.
Yeah. It prone to error as well, too.
But nothing's actually been migrated yet, right? So what comes next?
Now we create what's called a project. Project is essentially a collection of migration jobs. I'm going to select my migration plan. I'm going to create the list of standard jobs here.
So what does that create standard jobs checkbox do?
Yeah, so without checking that, what I would need to do is just manually go through and create my jobs to migrate all these applications and data connections and spaces, etc. Click Create Project here. My
Okay.
project has been created, so now I can go over to my jobs. Yes, this is referencing that project,
Okay.
but now I have my list of jobs here that are considered pretty standard. Notice I can edit any one of these to change what they do, what steps they do, etc. I can also create any new jobs as well. For example, this tool can migrate extensions and themes
Oh,
over into
nice.
cloud. That's not one of the jobs that are listed here. So if I needed to do that, if I click Create New, call this Extensions and Themes, click Create Job, go in and edit, go into my migration steps, select to export and import themes, click Save, and now that's a job that I can do. Today, we don't have any extensions and themes, so I'm just going to go ahead and delete.
Now, this job list, what's the order that they're laid out in? Is this any specific order?
Yeah, it is in a recommended order here. Now, if you try to create and assign spaces without migrating the users first, we show the steps here. We have add assignments to spaces, update space owners. If the users are not already in Qlik Cloud, this job
Yeah.
will complete with warnings, and you'll see that was unable to assign the users to the spaces or unable to update the space owners.
Okay.
So we'll start in order though. First step.
Okay.
Next, we're going to create the spaces and assign the members. That's completed. If I go over to our spaces,
Oh, yeah.
my manager is the owner of those two shared spaces where I changed that in our migration plan. Next step, we have to actually migrate those applications. So we're going to go ahead and run that.
All right.
Yep, there we go. We can see that it's been completed. If I go into the logs,
Oh, nice. So you just clicked on that eye icon to get to the logs.
we see exactly all the steps that took place. You see it's very verbose, telling me everything that it's doing. So for example, here we have user student was the owner of this sheet.
And that mapped it to you just so we can
Mhm.
see it in the demo. Okay.
Exactly. And if we go to our cloud environment here and let's look at that application, if we open this up, there's my
Ah, those private
private
sheets.
content. Now, not been published yet. So now we can continue down this as well. So we can now go ahead and run the migrate data connections job.
I think it's interesting that it broke the data connections and updating the script into different jobs. I
Yeah,
like it.
it's possible to create a single master job. It's possible to break these up into even smaller steps.
So what would happen if someone hit the reload application step before updating the scripts?
Yeah, I think we probably can guess what might happen. We've migrated the data connections, but if someone tried to run this,
Yeah, my background is in support, so I love seeing things break and understand how to fix them. All right, completed with warnings.
we check at this, Control F, and look for WRN, which is the warning. Here we go, reload app. So we're seeing that it failed because, hey, we didn't update the application scripts. We can go back into our consumer sales app here.
Yeah, can we take a look at the script to see what it looks like before the change?
Yeah, so let's go to our data load editor. You can see that even though data connection is variabilized, the tool will still find the string that references that data connection and update it.
Cool. Can we see that in action and run the job that updates the scripts?
Absolutely. Run this. It will update those scripts to reference the data connections.
Oh, it finished.
And now if we go back, there's our new connection.
That is very cool.
If we run the reload applications.
So now it's reloaded all 4 of those applications.
Exactly. So now the data is there. It's tested that the reload can actually happen. The next is going to be to publish those applications into the managed spaces. Now those applications are published and we can validate that. Maybe our finance stream, and there we go. We have our 2 finance applications.
In the finance managed space. Great.
We do have 1 reload task.
Okay.
So let's add the reload schedules.
Completed with warnings.
Let's double check what those warnings are. Now we only have 1 reload task out of those 4 applications.
Okay, so it's saying there were no reload schedules to add on 3 of those applications.
Exactly. You checked for it, and just to make sure that we knew that that's what was going to happen, that's why I gave the warning. We can go back to our cloud environment. Let's check the schedule, and here we can see there is a reload schedule.
Nice.
Ready to go. Next is the validate application step. Let's go ahead and run this. It's going to give me a little warning here because this is a resource-intensive job.
Okay.
Click yes. So running this is going to look at the client-managed version of the application, the cloud version of the application, compare all of the different data cells between all of the objects of those 2 applications.
Awesome. So that's going to analyze both the client managed side and the cloud versions of all those apps and users and sheets and objects, and just make sure that all the data is correct on both.
Exactly.
All right, so it's finished the validation.
It has. So we are going to go into our log.
Okay.
We're going to go all the way down to the bottom of this log. Notice all the things that it's doing. It's doing a lot of stuff in this job. But at the very bottom here, a validation report has been written to, and here is a exact folder path. So I'm going to open up the Excel doc. This is a 3-tab report. The first tab is an overview of the applications and how the validation went. We can see our procurement app is red. So that tells us that there was some data deviations. In fact, we can see right here, 1 object was deviated. If we go to the app object overview, let's scroll down until we see the red. So there is the object.
Table.
You can see that it's a table, which means that there's a lot of rows. Over 7,200 rows. And of those 7,200 rows, 6 were not validated. So now let's go into the overview. Here are those 6 rows that were deviated. If we scroll over a bit, the cloud row and the client managed row. If you just look at the euro values, this might just have to do with simple difference in when the cloud application was reloaded versus the client managed application.
So there could be slight deviations because of the time that it was reloaded, and it looks like it's thousandths of a cent.
Yeah, and with it being a thousandth of a cent.
And that was 6 rows out of over 7,200 in only 1 object, so that's unlikely to be an issue.
So yeah, it looks like the migration ultimately went really well. Next would be to update the owners.
Yeah, what is that last job? Undo migration.
Yeah, this is useful for if something messes up, the plan needs to be adjusted before running these again.
So it'll just roll everything back. Cool. Can we see that work?
Absolutely. Run this. And now if we actually tab over, there are all our spaces gone. Content, all of the data files have now been taken out. And no more applications.
Wow. So that was a clean sweep to just reset everything we've done so far, like a Control-Z undo. That's so great. And because you can edit the job steps, you could set it to only roll back specific things, like 1 at a time if needed.
That's really cool. Great.
And that's the migration tool.
So, Sav, we've seen this tool work. It's really great. And besides the migration tool being available, why is now a good time to migrate to the cloud?
So great question, Troy. A lot of these features around Qlik Cloud are native to Qlik Cloud. They're consolidating a lot of extra servers, infrastructure, or cost from your on-premise hosting and helping you realize the cost savings and business benefits. So Qlik Cloud has many capabilities, and we have a lot of new features, things like alerts, data catalog, and automations that would either need separate products to achieve on-premise, have all been developed or integrated from scratch in Qlik Cloud. So because of this, unifying these new capabilities into that single platform enables a much more integrated and seamless user experience in Qlik Cloud. And that's one of the main reasons why you want to look to cloud, along with the return on investment and cost saving benefits that you can realize too.
On top of all the advantages of Qlik Cloud as a platform, why now?
It's a really exciting time at Qlik and for anyone that is interested in moving to Qlik Cloud this year. At the beginning of the year, we kicked off a new move to cloud team within customer success, fully focused on helping move our customers on both the analytics side and on the data side. So our main aim of this new team is to maximize the move to cloud and drive adoption. We want to really help our customers move to Qlik Cloud. We want to help them get started with the migration, the initial adoption, and look beyond just the onboarding. And going forward, we'll be innovating using AI to help optimize the move to cloud journey and also create a move to cloud platform modernization storyline. And that basically means making all of the information a lot more easily accessible on Qlik Community and the Migration Center.
All right. Well, how should customers engage with you and this new team?
Yeah, so customers can reach out to your Qlik representative. One thing that is available is the complimentary SaaS tenant with premium edition capabilities if you don't have SaaS today. And this is available for both analytics and on the data integration side. And this will be free through until your next renewal. There'll be some limitations that will be applied. Please do reach out to your Qlik contact for more information.
And now the migration tool is available.
Yeah, that's now available, making moving to cloud twice as fast. There's minimal downtime and maximum speed. You saw with the tool in the demo from Adam that you can begin when it makes sense for you. Given the complimentary SaaS tenant that's available to you, there's no immediate contract changes. This is fully flexible, so you can be able to work with full access from day one. So you can see all the full value and benefits of Qlik Cloud. The slide that I showed earlier with all the capabilities, you'll get full access from day one, and you can see those real results without any kind of pressure on the migration.
All right. So just reach out to your Qlik contact. And how does a migration like this work?
So this is the fun part. The how is always interesting. So you saw with the migration tool, right? It sets a really good kind of foundation for you to be able to move seamlessly to cloud from on-premise. But there's an approach to that. The way that we've set this out is build what would be then an industry standard approach to migrations. And that's what this is, Troy. We're reducing risk and ensuring consistency and reliability. So there's a couple of phases. We'll focus on these as they're more relevant for the migration tool and physically move to cloud. So the assess phase, this is where you're starting your migration journey, you're evaluating your business objectives, and you're assessing your readiness to move. We'll help you identify and inventory all of your existing analytics on premise with support and guidance on the best approaches going forward. Once you've built your migration strategy, you'll then move into the mobilize phase. This is where you want to set up your Qlik Cloud environment or your tenant. You want to install the Qlik Analytics migration tool and start to configure your authentication and access to your users. And then you move into the migrate and optimize phase. This is where you're lifting and shifting a lot of your analytics and apps over to Qlik Cloud using the migration tool and validating those applications, having them fully reloaded, and then moving into production.
Since it all begins with the assess phase, can you tell us a little bit more about the SaaS Readiness app?
Yeah, the apps themselves can profile the usage, the app size, and inventory all of the content aligned to the Qlik Cloud tiers that we have available today. They identify the high use apps, so you can prioritize your migration to see which needs to be migrated first. And it can flag unused or oversized apps that will be targeted for kind of cleanup or optimization. It helps estimate the large app sizing. So this is the capacity that you'll need on your Qlik Cloud environment to ensure that you can run larger applications. It also then enables more focused and a data-driven migration planning, which we know is really, really key and important here. And lastly, It provides a high watermark for your cloud readiness. This is not for coding, it's essentially there to give you an idea of how much capacity you would need.
Are there any other developments on the roadmap for improvements in this migration to the cloud?
There are, Troy, and we're really excited to be talking about this. So there is a roadmap on the Qlik Analytics migration tool. Up next is the ability to import and export via Excel. This helps with bulk loading of those plans. So you can do those updates to Excel and then import that back into the Qlik Analytics migration tool if you have a load of plans that you want to start to configure. Next, migration of task chains to help move your reload tasks from on-premise up to Qlik Cloud. And then we'll be focusing on migrating your custom properties into custom groups in Qlik Cloud too. So there's a lot to be excited about.
Nice. So if someone's watching this and they're interested in evaluating what a migration might look like for them, what steps should they take?
Yeah, so there's a couple of call to actions and resources available. Firstly, for anything that you've seen as part of the Qlik Move to Cloud program and offer, talk to your Qlik representative about moving to Qlik Cloud today. If you want to see what's the latest and greatest in Qlik Cloud, book a demo. Ask to see more information on the AI capabilities, Qlik Predict or Qlik Automate. And if you're interested around the SaaS Readiness assessment, both for QlikSense and QlikView, reach out to your Qlik representative to get this booked in. And lastly, if you want to see more of a demo on the Qlik Analytics migration tool again, you can also reach out to Qlik. You can download the Qlik Analytics migration tool. It's available on the Qlik products download page. Visit the Migration Center for more information on the migration tool itself, and join the Move to Cloud Qlik community forum.
Fantastic. And I'll provide links to all those resources. All right. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I really appreciate you guys coming together and doing this demo and talking all about the world of migration and why it's important to do it now and all the benefits of it, really. So, yeah, I appreciate your time today.
Of course, thank you, Troy. Thanks, Sav. And thank you for everyone for attending and taking the time out of your day to go through this with us.
Yeah, thank you, Troy, and thank you, Adam. And thanks, everyone, for joining today. Just to wrap up, the Qlik Analytics migration tool is available to download for free. You can visit the Migration Center for more information and join the Move to Cloud Qlik community group. Thank you all.
Here's our legal disclaimer. And thank you once again. Have a great rest of your day.